Good morning. And welcome to the weekly multi-platform service of Tri-County Unitarian Universalist based in Summerfield, Florida. We acknowledge that we occupy the ancestral, traditional, and contemporary lands of the indigenous Florida peoples. I am Jolyn Jocelyn Burt, in case you didn't recognize me, today's service leader. Hello to our members and friends, and a special welcome to those who might be visiting here for the first time. Unitarian Universalists are united not by a creed of shared beliefs, but by a covenant of shared values. We celebrate that we do not need to think alike to love alike. It is our respect and encouragement of each other's diversity of thought that truly binds us together. For the curious and for the seekers, Unitarian Universalist values and covenant may be found on your order of service and at our website, triuu.org. Our newsletter, included in the timetable, can also be found there under News and Events. We have announcements, but the first announcement is what? Please mute your phone or place it in airplane mode. Thanks. If you're here today looking for Reverend Christina, our minister will be back in the pulpit next Sunday. Now, this is an interesting announcement. Trish and Helene thank all of you who showed up and joined them to celebrate Thanksgiving with our beloved community. Being together is such a joy. My comment is, Helene and Trish, we thank you for putting this together. We had about at least 30 people there, and so two of us, Val and I, decided that we would bring the turkey, and we would each bring a small turkey, about 12 pounds. Well, I did what I was supposed to do, but Val didn't go shopping until the last minute. The only thing left there was a 20-pound turkey. So we had lots of turkey people, and Ed was wonderful about carving everything. So we all not only had turkey for dinner, we all took home turkey if we chose to do so. So thanks to Trish and Helene. It was really fun, just a fun time, yeah. This concludes our announcements, and as we now begin the service proper, we will recite our mission statement. Please join with your voice as we recite together. In religious community, to seek spiritual growth, live with integrity, and serve with compassion. Our chalice keeper today is Trish Schwartzberg. We invite those of you joining us on Zoom to light your chalice at home. And I'm supposed to light that chalice.
We'll get it together here. These words for our chalice lighting come from Leslie Takahashi. We gather as many drops, each winding our own path down life's surfaces and ruts. Here we pool together as a single body, flowing together for a time. Together we are a stream, at times even a river, for with our shared force, we can travel toward oceans of meaning and seas of connection.
Our minister this morning is Reverend Dr. Tracie Barrett, who lives in Orlando, Florida with her husband and 3 cats. I'm going to stop right there. We know Tracie as Tracie, who was our intern here for 2 years under Reverend Janet Ani, and we loved her very much. So she's come a long way. When she was with us, she was just Tracie. Now she's not only a reverend, but a reverend doctor. So that's very impressive. She's giving me a list of things that she's involved in, which is kind of complicated. So I'm going to read it to you. Considered herself to be a UU evangelist, sharing the good news about our liberal and liberating faith. Reverend Tracie is the minister of rural and liturgy for the Soul Fire Project, a collective dedicated to creating transformative experiences rooted in holistic, expansive, and theologically dynamic Unitarian Universalism. We're impressed, Tracie. Okay, then, yeah. In addition, and this I can understand, she spends her summers serving as a chaplain for our youth and emerging young adults at Quest camps in Wyoming and Idaho. She also serves as the senior associate minister at All Souls in Miami. So we're very happy to have you back, Tracie.
Yeah, I got to stay busy, and I got to use those doctor words, otherwise they might take the doctorate back. Our invitation to centering this morning is written by my dear friend and colleague, Andrea Hawkins Camper. Hail, singer of songs and starlight, hail. Bring us together with the heartbeat of the drum, the crackling fire of the storm, the quiet comfort of the earth. Join our convocation, O singer of songs. Gather us from the quarters and the corners and the nowhere in between. Bring us home to sanctuary where our heartbeats are etched into the mortar, where our souls know every comfortable place hidden in shadow, where spirit rests even when she reminds us to rest. Join us inside as love becomes a verb. Selah. Our opening hymn this morning is hymn number 151, I Wish I Knew How. I invite you to rise and body or spirit as you're willing and able to join us in this hymn.
I
whistle stop this morning is titled The Shambhala Warrior Prophecy, a 12 centuries old Shambhala warrior prophecy from the Tibetan Buddhist tradition. There comes a time when all life on earth is in danger. At that time, great powers have arisen, barbarian powers, and although they waste their wealth in preparations to annihilate each other, they have much in common. Among the things these barbarians have in common are weapons of unfathomable devastation and death and technologies that lay waste to the world. And it is just at this point in our history when the future of all beings seems to hang by the frailest of threads that the kingdom of Shambhala emerges. Now, you can't go there because it's not a place. It exists in the hearts and minds of the Shambhala warriors. Now is the time the Shambhala warriors go into training. They train in the use of two implements. One is compassion, and the other is insight into the radical interdependence of all phenomena. You need both. You need the compassion because that provides the fuel to move you out from where you need to be, to do what you need to do. That means not being afraid of the suffering of your world. When you're not afraid to be with that pain, then nothing can stop you. You can be and do what you're meant to do. But by itself, that implement is very hot. It can burn you, so you need that other tool. You need the insight into the radical interconnectivity at the heart of existence, the web of life, our deep ecology. When you have that, then you know that this is not a battle between good guys and bad guys. You know that the line between good and evil runs through the landscape of every human heart. And you know that we are so interwoven in the web of life that even the smallest act with clear intention has repercussions through the whole web beyond your capacity to see. But that's a little cool, maybe even a little abstract. You need the heat of compassion, the interplay between compassion and wisdom. Thank you.
Okay, transitions. As we move deeper into our service, let us turn inward to consider transitions, the joys, sorrows, and concerns we all experience in our life's journey. There are 3 bowls of stones of different colors, representing the gratitude of joy, the grief of sorrow, and the hope of concern. After those present have placed stones in the water, our ushers will place stones from each of the bowls onto the water on behalf of those who are not physically present and those who have chosen not to or who are unable to come forward. Those online are invited to type into the chat to express what is in your heart. When all of the stones have been mingled in the water and all have shared, we will take a moment for silent meditation or prayer. As the sound of the bells bring us back into community, we will sing our response, Spirit of Life. Ushers, you may now come forward. Let us take a moment to reflect upon our own joys, concerns, and sorrows, and those of others. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Rise in the sea, soothing the hand, giving life, shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. Helene Kirschbaum will now give our sharing of abundance message.
When I'm not involved with TriUU during my spare time, anyway, one of the things that I do is I'm involved in a committee called the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Commemorative Committee. And basically, it's a 401k, whatever, 401c tax-exempt organization. And its purpose is to provide college scholarships to high school seniors at 6 area high schools who might not otherwise achieve their dream of a college education. We seek out and give the highest consideration to young people who show financial need, have overcome obstacles, have worked to improve their communities, and might be overlooked by traditional scholarships. These students must demonstrate academic ability with a minimum of a 2.5, which really is like a C+. B-, so it's not like A+ students, out of 4-point grade point average. They need 2 letters of recommendation. They need to be active in both extracurricular and community or work activities. And TriUU has been a sponsor of this committee for a long time, and I've been happily involved for 6 years. And the students need to apply, and they have an essay that they write. And the essay has one half of it is about Martin Luther King Jr., a special question, and the other half is how do they apply what he said, what he did in their own lives. So it does show both types, it's not just head knowledge, it's how do they expect to use it too. So I'm really happy to do that. And at the end of it, what we do in January is we have a breakfast the second Saturday in January at the Savannah Center in the Villages to honor the life of Dr. Martin Luther King, and also to present these new scholarship recipients to the community. And not counting this year, the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Commemorative Committee has awarded over $700,000 in student scholarships in the Tri-County area. And we had 45 applications this year, and we're giving 15 recipients, 15 scholarships of $4,000 each, which is pretty good for considering, the area and scholarships. A lot of these scholarships are $500 or $1,000, so $4,000 is pretty important to these. I thought instead of my continuing to talk and talk and talk, that I would show you what one person from last year talked about, because we give a couple of them a chance to talk. This is Mercedes Cabrera, who's from Lake Weir High School last year, so she graduated, and she was planning to go to Florida State University.
Good morning. I appreciate your patience. It is such an honor to receive this scholarship and have the opportunity to stand here before all of you alongside such accomplished and phenomenal recipients this year. I can confidently say that we have all worked so hard to get where we are today, and we are all so thankful for you. This great act of generosity and love is one of many that have brought me here. And I want to share with you how much love can change this world for the better and has formed me into who I am. I grew up in church, and one of the lessons you hear most as a child is that God's greatest commandment is to love Him and love others. This was taught by example. Unconditional love showed me I was capable of great things and gave me ways to make the most of all my ambitions. When I was little, I grew up without my biological father, and my biological mother dealt with alcoholism and substance abuse that caused me to face a lot of neglect and led to her passing when I was 14. But I don't have sorrow hanging over my head. Instead, I have inspiration and joy from the people that chose to love me and had a willingness to act. They taught me to prosper anyways. That's how I discovered my love for music and consequently my love for serving others. What started as a fun band class in middle school has turned into my greatest passion. Upon entering high school, I began to learn life-changing lessons from band class. Perseverance when things get hard, dedication towards goals you're passionate about, and most importantly, what it means to be a part of something bigger than yourself. It taught me that true leadership is service-based, and there's a joy that comes from showing love to the people around you. The values that band has instilled in me have transferred to every other aspect of my life today. In my academics, community service, and extracurriculars, I lead with a relentless work ethic and a goal to serve others. I plan to go to Florida State University to pursue music education, to become a college music professor, helping to create the music educators that this world needs. Sparking children's love for music teaches them all the things that music has taught me. And having dedicated, passionate, and selfless people in our society will change our world for the better. God's given me amazing people in my life and beautiful opportunities like this one. And that's why I can chase after success. I will sprint towards my future, inspired by my found family. In middle school, my best friend's house that I visited every weekend turned into my home. I'd been given a family and loving parents and siblings. And that is genuinely the most pivotal act of love that's led me to where I am now. I can't imagine what making that kind of commitment, selfless commitment, feels like. But what I do know is that if I can be as loving as my mom and dad have been to me, then that success will amount to more than any sort of money or recognition. I work as hard as I do to be someone that can show that kind of beautiful love to others. I want to be able to support young minds just like this committee is supporting me and these other astounding candidates, coming together to put thousands of dollars towards the future of this country every year. This scholarship is not only changing our lives as recipients, but it's helping us change the lives we come across in our adulthood, post-secondary education, and careers. I've dedicated my life to a God of love. Jesus living a life of perfection and dying a treacherous death just to provide love and life to his people. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, "I know that love is ultimately the only answer to mankind's problems." And as someone who's seen love change lives, I know Dr. King's words are so evidently true. I want you to know that love is the only thing that's infinite, and it's within you. You have the power to continue loving people unconditionally as God loves us, and that will enact amazing change. Thank you so much for the scholarship, and I promise I will continue striving for great things in the name of love.
Now receive today's special offering for the Martin Luther King Jr. scholarships. If you are visiting us for the first time, please do not feel obligated to give. You are our guest, and we are happy to have you here with us today. This is the time in our service when those who wish to make some monetary contribution to our congregation's vision and mission give to support this community and its outreach. If you'd like your check credited to the MLK Junior Scholarship, please write Fifth Sunday on the memo line so we can record it properly. I invite the ushers to come forward.
Well, I don't know how y'all expect me to follow that sermon. This is why I work with youth and young adults, people. This is why. Take a minute to get my tears back into my eyes and we'll be good. A while back, we had a moment where a bill came due well before another check would arrive in the mail or in the bank account. And unfortunately, it was one that we could not quite put off until that money arrived. And I didn't panic. Well, I did a little, but not fully. Instead, I opened my phone and navigated to an app and simply typed, "We are $200 short for rent this month." Within moments, the money arrived in my Venmo account. I paid rent and then let my husband know that it was taken care of, and then explained the concept of mutual aid. Mutual aid at its basic level is people helping other people, without the pressure of loans or the justification of charity, just people helping other people. Author, lawyer, and activist Dean Spade says this about mutual aid. Mutual aid is collective coordination to meet each other's needs, usually from an awareness that the systems we have in place are not going to meet them. Those systems, in fact, have often created the crisis or are making things worse. We see examples of mutual aid in every single social moment, whether it's people raising money for workers on strike, setting up a ride-sharing system during the Montgomery bus boycott, putting drinking water in the desert for migrants crossing the border, training each other in emergency medicine because ambulance response times in rural neighborhoods and poor neighborhoods is too slow, raising money to pay for abortions for those who can't afford them, or coordinating letter writing to prisoners. These are mutual aid projects. He continues, they directly meet people's survival needs and are based on a shared understanding that the conditions in which we are made to live are unjust. Mutual aid networks are popping up again. Now, I've been a part of them for a few years in various circles, support circles for LGBTQIA beloveds who needed to get out of state, part of a network to help people needing transportation to find medical care in another location, and part of a circle of dear friends who quietly send each other money when we need it. But now, I think now everyone else is realizing what these circles have always known. We need each other to survive. We are waking up over this last year and realizing that we cannot rely on the structures we've relied on before. Federal workers were without pay for the longest period of time during this last shutdown. And they weren't vacations, as their bills did not take vacations. Many were working without pay and no idea when or if they would be paid, and if that even included the back pay for the time they worked without a check. Rent, mortgage, electric, etc., these things don't stop. During that time, nearly 42 million Americans were scrambling to figure out how they would feed their families. SNAP benefits, also known as food stamps, were cut due to the government shutdown. And lest you think these benefits are for people who just need to get a job, please know that the majority of those on SNAP do work. When I worked at a very well-known grocery store here in the South, the majority of my coworkers used these benefits. Again from Spade, today many of us live in the most atomized societies in human history, which makes our lives less secure and undermines our ability to organize together, to change unjust conditions on a large scale. We are put in competition with one another for survival, and we are forced to rely on hostile systems like healthcare systems designed around profit, not keeping people healthy, or food and transportation systems that pollute the earth and poison people for the things we need. More and more people report that they have no one they can confide in when they are in trouble, and this means many of us do not get help with mental health, drug use, family violence, or abuse until the police or the courts are involved, which tends to escalate rather than resolve harm. In this context of social isolation and forced dependency on hostile systems, mutual aid, where we choose to help one another out, share things, and put time and resources into caring for the most vulnerable, is a radical act. Mutual aid is a radical act. So what exactly is mutual aid? Well, first of all, it's more than just friends giving each other money or canned goods or a ride. Mutual aid works to meet survival needs while also building understanding around why people do not have what they need. And this is important. Now, I don't know if you've gone looking for a job recently. This congregation, I know, does not need to worry about that as much. But I encourage you to check on job board postings, just every once in a while, to see what's going on in the world. Jobs that require a college degree pay $16 an hour. That is not easy to live on. Last year, there was an article in the Orlando Sentinel that stated that for people to afford to live, not even comfortably, just to survive, an income of $100,000 a year minimum was necessary to live in Orlando, where I live. Again, most jobs, even full-time jobs, are only offering $16 an hour. And let me do that math for you. At $16 an hour and 40 hours a week, that's just over $33,000 a year. That's not counting having taxes and benefits taken out of the check. And we wonder why 42 million people are on SNAP. One of the most famous mutual aid programs in our history was the Black Panther Party. They had a free breakfast program, free ambulance program, free medical clinics, ride offerings for elderly people doing errands, and a school for children. They welcomed people in by creating spaces where their needs could be met, because it's hard to fight for liberation when you're starving. History paints them entirely differently, but it's important to note that the Department of Agriculture's free breakfast program for children started shortly after the Black Panther Party was demonized and attacked. But let's be clear, the free breakfast program of the Department of Agriculture was not based in mutual aid. It is based on the charity model. Mutual aid builds solidarity by providing for needs that can keep us from working for liberation and justice, as opposed to the charity model that determines who is worthy of help for a single issue. Mutual aid requires us to look at the infrastructure, at the intersectionality of issues that affect us all. Again, from Spade, solidarity and an ever-expanding commitment to justice emerge from contact with the complex realities of injustice. This is exactly how movements are built, as people become connected to each other as one urgent issue unspools into a broader vision of social transformation. We cannot tackle the problem of food insecurity without looking at the federal minimum wage, the rising housing costs, food deserts, rising healthcare costs, etc. Another element of mutual aid is that it is participatory. Spade says mutual aid projects help people develop skills for collaboration, participation, and decision-making. For example, people engaged in a project to help one another through housing court proceedings will learn the details of how the system harms people and how to fight it. But they will also learn about meeting facilitation, working across differences, retaining volunteers, addressing conflict, giving and receiving feedback, following through, and coordinating schedules and transportation. They may also learn that it is not just lawyers who can do this kind of work, and that many people, including themselves, have something to offer. This departs from expertise-based social services that tell us we need to have a social worker, a licensed therapist, a lawyer, or some other person with an advanced degree to get things done. Mutual aid networks realize that we all have something to offer, and we all work together to get things done. Mutual aid is not charity. There is nothing you have to do to earn or prove to receive help in a mutual aid network. It breaks that traditional charity model that asks if you're worthy enough to receive help. The Big Door Brigade, a group helping others create mutual aid networks, says this about the difference. Charity also frames people in need as morally lesser than rich people, as if poverty were the fault of the poor rather than the fault of the systems of racism, heteropatriarchy, ableism, land theft, and labor exploitation that make some people rich and keep other people poor. Charity looks like generosity from rich people, but actually upholds the systems that make that make most people poor for the benefit of the few. And I can attest to this. Remember my story from the beginning. I did look into how housing assistance groups might help us, and it would have taken a ton of paperwork and too much time. In some cases, you had to have an eviction notice before they'd help you. Mutual aid upsets this model by saying that the crises people are in are due to the systemic issues in our society, not because they're good or bad. Mutual aid says that I trust that you know your situation, and this is what I can offer to help. So how do you get involved? The website Public Health Degrees has this to offer about connecting with mutual aid networks. Be aware of how you show up in a space. As someone who's new to mutual aid, it's important to consider how you fit into this community. Acknowledge your privilege when necessary, add your voice only when needed, and listen to the needs of the people seeking support. 2, do your research. Connect with organizers already doing work in your community. Find out what networks and services are present. See how you can contribute to existing efforts instead of attempting to start something new right away. Follow mutual aid networks on social media. Mutual aid organizers often boost requests from other groups as well as requests from individuals in the community. This not only keeps you informed about what your local mutual aid group is working on, but can also alert you to other opportunities to contribute. And consider what you can offer. Donating money and providing material resources is just one way to contribute to mutual aid. You may also be able to offer your time as a volunteer, share your skills with others, serve as a translator if you are multilingual, and find other hands-on opportunities. And again, from the same site, how you can contribute to those mutual aid networks. Donate money. This can include donating to funds for specific individuals, as well as organizations that can use the money to purchase needed items for their community. Provide resources. Sometimes mutual aid efforts include calls for material item donations, such as food or cold weather supplies, which they can distribute to community members. And offer your time. Serving as a volunteer for an organization to collect and distribute goods can be a hands-on approach for those who have the means to do so. And leverage your skills. I know this congregation is rich in skills and wisdom and knowledge. A variety of skills can be helpful to mutual aid efforts. Examples include donating time to designing graphics for social media, writing a press release, or offering expertise to educate community members on an important health topic. And if all of this seems too much, it's just too much, begin by creating your pods. Much like we did during the pandemic, find the people nearby that you can connect with. Find out how you can help one another if there is no one else to help. Because the reality is that we likely need to prepare for that. We are all in this together, and we need one another to survive. May we remember that mutual aid is about justice, and justice is what love looks like in public. Amen. May it be so, and blessed be. If you'll join me now by rising in body or spirit as you're willing and able for closing hymn number 134, Our World is One World.
Sing
Trish Schwartzberg will now read our chalice extinguishing message.
Our message this morning is from Jim McGaw. I say go in peace. I don't mean go without challenge yourself or others. When I say go in peace, I don't mean go in utter ease and comfort. When I say go in peace, I mean go in peace seeking justice. I mean go in peace committed to equal rights and opportunities for all. When I say go in peace, I mean we build communities of true solidarity, deep compassion, and fierce, unrelenting love. Go in peace.
I invite anyone who has just begun to visit with us and who wishes to do so I think we're all home folk here today. If you would like to receive regular communications on upcoming Tri-UU events, please take and fill out a guest card, which will be available at the door after the service. On January 24th, there will be a class for those wanting to know more about Tri-UU. Please sign up at the table in the back of the room. If you can't or don't want to, wait until then to ask your questions. See Andrea at the table after the service. Reflections on the sermon. We are experiencing this hybrid worship service and are what you took away from the sermon. For those of you who are on Zoom, raise your hand to speak or type your comment in the chat box. For those here in the gathering space, please raise your hand. If there is time, Reverend Tracie or I will call on you. Please share your name and keep the microphone close to your mouth so we can hear you better. If you wish to be seen on the monitors and by those attending on Zoom, please stand directly in front of the pulpit. Please keep your comments brief and on topics. No announcements, please.
Reverend Dr. Tracie, it's so wonderful to have you back with us. And I've been thinking about this point that you're making about mutual aid being different from charity, because I think it's something that we need to learn, and I know I need to learn. I remembered right away, I have diapers in my car, I better bring them out before Linda goes to the community of gratitude. But I don't know anybody in the community of gratitude. I don't know the people that actually benefit from those diapers. And I think of Brian Stevenson, and when he talked in his work about proximity, I think that that's something that we have to work on. That's, how do we build the proximity to the people so that we understand that what their needs are and what our needs are too. They need politicians who do so. We really need to have that proximity. So I really appreciate your remarks today.
Hi, good morning. My name is Carolyn. Can everybody hear me okay? I thank you also for your sermon today. I our campground that really need support, and And I've thought, I don't really know how to go about that. This morning was just really kind of an exciting topic for me, thinking about how I can start, or at least look into what mutual aid, societies or organizations are available, and start from there to focus on some of the people that are actually living in our campground.
Yeah, and something as simple as like setting up a food pantry in your campground. You would probably be amazed at the people who don't ask for help, who were raised, I was raised that you don't ask for help, you just buckle down and you do your thing and you deal with it. And so having that available without having to be like, oh, do you need help? Is more of a mutual aid, like, here, we have excess. Here's where we all share. And so that's something that's a low risk way of entering into that. So I'm excited that this worked out and kind of kismet for you.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Joyce. In 1974, I moved from Miami to Ocala, north of Ocala. And at the time, people in Miami said, oh, you will love Ocala. It's very rich there, very wealthy people. I worked for 40 years in the schools in Marion County. And when I moved from Miami to Ocala, 60% of the children in the schools were on free or reduced lunch. So it was not a rich community, and it still isn't. And at the time, the teachers in Marion County were striking and marching. I had just moved here supporting a family of 4, did not want to strike. So we were paid once a month. Friday afternoon, I went to the bank, and on the deposit slip, I wrote dedication. Now, everyone who heard that from the clerk laughed. But I thought, if teachers and educators are to be dedicated, why can't we deposit that?
And I will tell you, as somebody who would have qualified for free and reduced lunch, but my mother did not want to fill out paperwork because that would announce that we were poor, I guarantee you there were more kids who probably needed free and reduced lunch. So I think we have one back here and then there.
I'm Eileen McCabe, and this is why I give. I remember not too long ago when I was shopping in Walmart and I couldn't find something. And I went to the young girl and I asked her where something was. And she stopped. What she was doing, and she took me to where it was, but you were willing to really go out of your way. And then we just came back from a trip, and we were in a motel, and there were 3 cleaning women outside, and we gave each of them a tip. And it's very hard for us to pass someone with a sign looking for money. But what astounds me is the people that say, you don't know what they're going to do with that money. Mm-hmm. And why do I give? Not so much as to what they're going to do with it, but as to how it makes me feel.
You're breaking out of that charity model. I love it.
Good morning, congregants. My name is Michael, and one of the things that has always hit me, and I think it's the ultimate tragedy in this world as it has gone on for centuries and centuries, is that we have become, and we're continuing to be, a me, me, me society. And it's understandable that we all have needs, we all have our own personal situations. I also believe in a line that I feel is actually true today, that the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. And that's a shame. And one of the things that I feel very strongly about. I'm a Jew. I'm proud to be a Jew, and I grew up with tons and tons of Yiddish words in my vocabulary. And one of the most important Yiddish words that I learned was a word called Rachmanis. Rachmanis means compassion. We must all have not only compassion for ourselves, but we must also have compassion for other people. And the thing is, the rich may be getting richer and the poor may be getting poorer. But what the rich don't realize is that if we continue to act without compassion, we will be mentally and spiritually impoverished. And that is a dire shame, because it shouldn't have to be that way. So we have to learn compassion in our society, because biologically we're all wired up as humans to be connected to one another in Earth. And if we continue to act the way we're acting, we are going to destroy those connections. And that is my story, and I'm sticking to it. Thank you.
Thank you. There's also more of us than there are of them. I just want to always reiterate that. There are more of us who are poor, who are not rich, than there are of the rich, which is why they like to keep us scrambling for resources so that we don't realize that there are more of us. There's a really good scene in A Bug's Life about that. Alrighty. Our benediction today is again from my dear friend and member of my mutual aid circle and my colleague at All Souls, Andrea Hawkins Camper. Starlighter and Sunslinger, hear our prayers. We ask that a blessing find all those without shelter and food today, that in return we would be reminded of the stranger's empty chair, that wisdom is in the welcome, that community is found just as often as it is made. Each of us is a star seed and a star sibling, a part of something greater, unnameable, a mote trapped in a sunbeam. Selah.
Thank you so much, Tracie, for being here today, and for your sermon, and for all the comments that you all have made today. I think it's been just great. Thanks. Join us for fellowship in the back of the room until 11 o'clock. If you want a bit more to eat and more time to visit, there is a sign-up sheet on the table near the bookshelves to coordinate with others who like to go out for brunch. The Zoom room will stay open for 20 minutes.